Here we are. The Pokémon League awaits, and with it, our final challenge for this part of our journey. Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing the Pokémon SoulSilver Nuzlocke. Last time, we managed to get through Victory Road, faced our rival one last time, and made our way to the Pokémon League. Beyond there is gonna be our last battle for this chunk of the game. After this, we'll officially be starting the post-game of Pokémon SoulSilver and the second half of this challenge run. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting part. It's definitely going to be a shorter stream, provided that things go, well. But yeah, it's going to be quite the interesting challenge we got here. Kenya, you understand what's up and what's at stake here. Before we go into this fight, want to quickly show off the team that's going to be going into this battle. I ground up everyone to at least level 50, which is the highest level that we're going to be seeing in the Pokemon League, as I want to make sure we get through this as best we can. So our team is going to consist of Kenya, our most recent addition to the team, originally belonging to Webster, out by Goldenrod City. She is quite interesting, very defensive Pokemon, and should be able to support us very nicely with her resistances as well as her many status moves. Psychic is also a very reliable type to have, as it strikes a lot of Pokemon for neutral damage, so that should be going pretty well. Not really going to rely too much on the Chlorophyll ability on her, but it does have some utility, as someone on our team does have the ability to set up Sun, which can be useful to us. And Odd Incense just for boosting her damage. Then of course we have Snorkel, at this point our oldest living team member. Snorkel is definitely going to be very reliable. He just has very good stats all across the board, especially offensively. Sandstream is sadly not going to benefit us too much, as only Kenya and another party member are able to take advantage of that. But it could help us out in some other situations. You can clearly see here he is built mostly for offense. We got Draco Meteor, the strongest Dragon-type move we can get on him right now, as well as Hydro Pump, the strongest Water-type move he can have on him, along with Surf and Ice Beam for some reliable extra damage. Wise Glasses will be taking advantage of the special attack boost in order to make sure we get some good kills out here. Snorkel, we've been together so long, and I'm hoping you're able to get to see the end with us. Then, of course, we have Scarab, our very reliable Heracross. This guy's a beast, and I am just hoping he's able to get in a lot of great damage with that massive attack stat. Scrappy is very useful, as it allows them to hit ghost types, which will be definitely helpful going forward. Muscle Band working great with his moveset options. Sadly, he doesn't have any Bug Stab at this level, but we're really not going to need it. Close Combat, Brick Break, Aerial Ace are all really good. Counter is mostly here just as a Hail Mary if I feel like Scarab isn't able to take out an opponent. But we can use this as like one last-ditch effort to get in some good damage. Hopefully we don't have to use it. Then of course we have Sparkles, easily one of our hardest hitters right here. Being able to cancel out the effects of weather could be pretty useful to us. Quick Claw is just kind of an item I feel like would be useful to her, as I don't really feel like there are too many items that will provide too much of a benefit, so just having a chance to be able to outspeed opponents is always nice. Your moveset is kind of basic, only having Crunch and Spark for a lot of big damage, so we're definitely going to rely on that attack stat to deal a lot of damage to opponents. Thunder Wave and Flash could be useful for impeding opponents if I feel the need for it. Hopefully, Sparkles is able to do her job well against these opponents ahead. Then, of course, we have Dottie, one of our most reliable team members from the start of this adventure. It's pretty powerful across the board. Swarm is sadly not going to see any use here. Equipped with a Miracle Seed in order to boost the power of half of your moves here. We taught you Leaf Storm as it's one of the strongest grass attacks you can learn, at the cost of a special attack drop when it is used, but hopefully it will still be able to do some reliable damage ahead. Solar Beam is always good, and it pairs nicely with Sunny Day, being able to set up the sun in order to quickly fire off 120 base damage grass attacks on opponents. Payback's pretty useful for dealing with psychic types ahead, alongside your grass dark typing. Hopefully, Dottie, hopefully you're going to get some good action in here. And last but not least, we have our big, reliable God Hippo, Sahara. Easily the beefiest team member we have, with massive HP and defense, and all-around pretty decent stats on the other side. Just massive attack power alongside just some really good offensive moves. I taught her Rock Tomb as I felt like that would be useful for dealing with a few things, as Rock is a very good offensive type. And we still kept Yawn, as I feel that the added chance of being able to put opponents to sleep could be pretty useful to us. Shell Bell is self-explanatory. I don't have access to leftovers at this point in the game. Not sure if I'm ever going to get leftovers at this point. But hopefully Shell Bell will be able to aid your tanking abilities going ahead. Hello, Fitness Gamer. Welcome to the stream. We are just getting started on the final act of this portion of our SoulSilver Nuzlocke. So, glad you could be here. Ooh, we got a call from Jamie. What's this about? Jamie, I can't battle you right now. I'm in the middle of something. So yeah, but that is going to be our loadout going into the final battles here. Honestly, don't know how things are going to be, as our opponents are all going to be randomized, but it's going to be an interesting challenge. To answer your question there, Fitness Gamer, yeah, we will be doing the Kanto portion of this game, but it's going to take a little while before we do that, as I want to focus on some other stuff ahead. I'm pretty much all done on the preparations here. When it comes to our healing items, I definitely loaded out on a lot of stuff to prepare for this. Got a lot of good options here. And also saved our rare candies, should we come into a situation where we need to boost our Pokemon's levels. But we shouldn't be relying too much on them ahead. But yep, this is going to be our big challenge here. Regardless of how this session ends, this has been a hell of a run. I've definitely really enjoyed this, and for all the good times and all the bad and rough times, it's been a very enjoyable ride. But now it's time to press onward. Once you enter this door, you'll be facing one of the Elite Four. They are really tough. You cannot exit once you enter. Are you ready? Be courageous, and go for it. We're definitely going to need courage going in here. Alright guys, let's do this. So I'm not going to expect too much resistance from the first few Elite Four members, but going ahead, things are definitely going to get tough, especially with who is waiting us at the end. Oh man, there's going to be some really powerful Pokemon in the final battle here. Alright, let's do this. Welcome to the Pokémon League. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Will. I'm trained all around the world, making my Psychic-type Pokemon powerful. And at last, I've been accepted into the Elite Four. I can only keep getting better. Losing is not an option. Master of the Mind. Will is our first opponent here. It honestly shouldn't be too bad considering what he's normally packing in this game. Leading off with Seadra, man after my own heart. What are we gonna do for this? I definitely feel like Kenya can easily handle a Seadra at this point. They really don't have too good of stats here. So, yeah, let's just let Kenya get on the offensive here. It is nasty that thing has Hydro Pump, as that could definitely do some high damage here. But we should be good. Yep, Kenya gets the KO on Seadra. One down, bunch more to go. Next is Venomoth. Okay, that does kind of fit you, because Venomoth do naturally learn Psychic-type attacks, but this really isn't going to be too dangerous for us. Yeah, the best it could pull off was Signal Beam against us. Which, might as well say right now, I had a previous experience with a Venomoth in one of my previous Nuzlocke runs, and it did not go over well. So I'm very glad to see Kenya actually handled that one good. Alright, Luxray's our next opponent, so I'm going to take this opportunity to switch on over to Sahara. Easily able to handle this thing. Oh, man. It just hit us with swagger. I do not want to risk that, as Sahara could do a lot of damage to herself. Yep, we do have a yellow flute, so we can use this to quickly snap us out of confusion. It's why I definitely like the flute items. They're just able to give you a nice little escape from certain status ailments. Oh, setting up swagger again. Curse you! It's definitely trying to cause some trouble here, because if Sahara hits herself at this point, that will do a lot of damage. But on the other hand, we're now at +4 attack. So depending on what else Will has, we could just sweep with Sahara. Yep, Luxray is easily going down. To be honest, I'm not going to switch Sahara out unless it's something that I definitely know has some super effective moves and can do a lot of damage here. Perugly. Yeah, that is fine. That is a pretty cool team at that point there, Fitness Gamer. Yeah, randomizer runs are definitely very fun, especially if you're doing them in a Nuzlocke challenge. I haven't had too crazy encounters throughout this run since I'm playing this on same strength rules, but I've definitely had some pretty interesting things, as I did manage to get a... Seriously, you have swagger too? Well, we're now at max attack. Sahara just gonna decimate everything we're going up against. Which might include herself. So yeah, he's definitely a very tricky magician we're going up against. He's definitely been using some really interesting strategies here. Oh, that's interesting you got your Articuno from the egg. So the Pokemon I got from the Togepi egg was actually a Spinarak. And I used her for a little bit, but the stats were definitely kind of running low compared to some of the other Pokemon I was using. So she's currently retired in the box. But it was fun using her for the short time she was with us. Alright, last one is our Moldo. Got ourselves a Bug Rock type here, and yeah, best bet's probably go for the Rock Tomb. We're at max attack here, and I want to savor our Earthquake power points. Of course, we do have plenty of power point restoring items, so we don't have to worry too much about this, but I don't know, I just like to hold on to all that. Thank you for the follow, Fitness Gamer Free. Very glad to see you joining with us here. And with that, there goes the last member of Will's team. Yeah, once Sahara got swapped in here, that was pretty much it. Especially with those attack buffs we got. Even though I was defeated, I won't change my course. I'll continue battling until I stand above all trainers. Now move on and experience the true ferocity of the Elite Four. We'll definitely expect to see some tough battles ahead, sir. You were only a taste of what's to come. Out of the damage we've sustained, yeah, Sahara can take a regular potion. And Kenya can just take some milk. Probably could have stocked up on some fresh water just as a very basic healing item, but yeah, we got plenty of resources. Not too worried about what we're gonna see here. Alright, that went pretty well for the first battle. So of course, things are only gonna get tougher from here. Let's move on to our second battle. It's a familiar face for anyone familiar with the Kanto games. I am Koga the Elite Four. I live in shadows, a ninja. My intricate style will confound and destroy you. Confusion, sleep, poison. Prepare to be the victim of my sinister techniques. Pokemon are not merely about brute force. You shall see soon enough. Definitely not lying about that. So now we're dealing with Koga, master of the poison type in the base game. But here, he's starting off with Lady Anne. Yeah, it's about time we encountered the first Pokemon we ever saw on this journey here at the end. For you, you're more of a... You have high special defense, so I'm thinking maybe we could switch to... Yeah, we'll switch to Sparkles. We should be able to handle this thing easily. You do have Silver Wind, and that is a little obnoxious because of the Omni boost that gives you, but nope. Alright, just go for the kill. Quick Claw already coming into effect here. And there goes Lady Anne. Pretty easy first Pokemon, but things could get tougher here. Cacturn. It has Grass Dart, and it has Slow Start. Alright, we don't really have to worry too much about this thing here. Yeah, I think Scarab will be a good call here. Just easily decimate this thing. Yeah, Slow Start is a nasty ability if a Pokemon gets randomized with it. Okay, it's setting up spikes at her feet, so we do have to deal with that later. Yep, Slow Start, always bad when it affects your Pokemon, as that cuts your attack and speed in half. So yeah, very lucky I didn't end up with a Cacnea in this run. Not like I would have actually been able to use it, as it's a low priority Pokemon for this run. Next up is Noctowl. That I definitely want to switch Scarab out. Sparkle's taking a little bit of damage, and we're going to take some more from the... Yeah, you should be able to handle this still. Noctowl's not really all that strong. It is tricky, though. So we're going to have to see what this thing's going to do. Yep, it went for the Air Slash, so it's very good we swapped Scarab out. So, yeah, I feel like now would be a good time to say that I was originally planning to do this stream session last week. However, I ran into a couple health problems at that time that I needed to deal with, so I was definitely not feeling like streaming during that time. But this week I'm feeling much better, so definitely have plenty of energy for these next couple of battles. Ooh, Kabutop's just barely hung on there. Guess it's to be expected. This thing is very, very beefy. Do I want to risk this thing potentially having Aqua Jet? We'd probably be fine, even if it did. Let's go for it. Yeah, Quick Claw coming in clutch. Woo! So long, Kabutops. I hope to get to use you in a later game because you're one of my favorite fossil Pokemon. That was probably Koga's ace, given its levels. And last one is Hariyama. One Pokemon left? I've been counting on this one from the very beginning. I doubt that. So what are we gonna do for this one? Kenya would be a good switch in, but fighting moves are gonna do neutral damage to you. Scarab's a pretty decent switch in, and you know what? Scarab resists fighting, and you have Aerial Ace. You're probably the better call. Still taking damage from spikes, but it's okay. Oh, it's going with Seismic Toss. That does some good neutral damage, but it's not going to be enough to take us out. Oh! Oh, that's right. I guess this thing took the place of Koga's muck because it has black sludge. Oh, that's nasty for you. So yep, you're just going to be taking chip damage here. And we should easily have you out here. Oh, that is very cool there, Fitness. Yeah, it's really nice when you get a Pokemon with an ability that really complements it. So yeah, huge power Lucario. That is really cool. Alright, buddy. Yeah, we definitely outspeed. Let's go for this. Ah, come on, Koga. You're just wasting time here. If we get a critical hit, that would be nice. But no. Just going to be some more back and forths until this thing finally goes down. Bye, Hariyama. Alright, that deals with our Ninja Master here. Ah, you've proven your worth. Yep, that was very fun. I subjected you to everything I could muster, but my efforts failed. I must hone my skills. Go on to the next room and put your abilities to the test. Yeah, Koga actually did quite a number on us. Let's definitely heal up here. Milk's not going to fully heal you, but it does heal Sparkles. Alright, and we'll Hyper Potion for Scarab. Very good. Bye, Koga. I'm looking forward to fighting your daughter. The return of lava. Oh, you okay there, Kenya? Looks like you're melting right now. Alright. Time for the next battle. And another familiar face for those that have played the Kanto games. I am Bruno of the Elite Four. I always train to the extreme because I believe in our potential. That is how we became strong. Can you withstand your power? I see no fear in you. You look determined, perfect for battle. Ready to lie. You will bow down to our overwhelming power. Hoo-ha! Always gotta break out the Arnie voice. He's big, he's brutal, he's Bruno. Leading with Slowking. That is very out of character for you, buddy. Alright, this guy, Kenya, is pretty safe here, so thinking we could set up against this guy. Let's go for Confuse Ray to confuse you, and then we'll put you to sleep with Hypnosis. As for who we're going to switch to, I definitely think Dottie's a good choice. You resist both water and Psychic, so that'd be really good. Ooh, this thing's setting up with Nasty Plot. That could be really bad. Let's put you to sleep. I'm trying to think about what other moves Slowking could potentially have that could be bad. I forget if this thing gets Signal Beam by level up. That could actually be really bad if Dottie gets hit by that. I'm thinking we might go for Sparkles. It's also good because Sparkles is a physical attacker, and that'll easily cut through Slowking's poor defense. Alright, this should be a pretty simple kill now. This thing's afflicted with 2 status ailments, so there's not much it's going to be able to do to us here. Oh, just barely hung on. That's why I love the Slowpoke line. They're just very reliable Pokemon. Spark's getting a little low. Let's go for Crunch. And you're fully healed now. Great. So in terms of some stuff that's been going on, since we're not really going to have a lot of free time to talk about some things, I've been having a pretty alright day. Mostly spending this morning trying to fill up my Pokemon Crystal Pokedex, as I've now managed to get all the badges in that game. So before I go take on the final challenge in that particular game, I want to fill up the Pokedex as much as I can, and at least capture all the Pokemon that can be caught within Crystal. Doing pretty good at it so far. Like, just this morning I managed to catch a Chansey, which is a 1% encounter in a Crystal, so that was really good. This day, very nice I was able to knock that out very quickly. Ooh, next Blastoise. This could be some trouble. This thing is very beefy. We should still be good. Sparkles is very strong. You should be able to crack right through that shell. Then again, you weren't able to crack through that Slowking. Yep, that actually tracks. Hey! We got you paralyzed! That's good. What do you have here? Citrus Berry. So that Blastoise would have replaced your Machamp, since you had the berry. Yeah, but at this point, Sparkles just easily KOs this thing. Quick Claw, unfortunately, not really being that useful there, considering this thing is paralyzed, and also it's a turtle. Very cool to see Blastoise in one of these later battles. Definitely one of my fave Pokemon. And a nice level up on Sparkles. Already getting some Pokemon higher leveled than our final opponent here, which is definitely very helpful to us. Masquerain. It's definitely a Pokemon I wish I like a bit more. Although, with that said, this is a Pokemon I definitely like more in some of the more recent games, as this thing did get some very nice stat boosts that actually made it very nice. And the last opponent here is Ariados. Fight as hard as you can to your fate! Not expecting too much from this thing. Considering our other options here, might actually switch to Kenya. I don't think Ariados has anything that's going to be really bad for you. And it's not like this thing's going to get any benefit from the Drizzle, so yep, it has Sucker Punch, but that's barely going to make a dent in Kenya. Alright, Extra Sensory, it's going to knock you down. And that's it. Why? How can we lose? Good game, Bruno. Having lost, I have no right to say anything. Go face your next challenge. I don't care what they say about you, Bruno. I like to talk about you. Alright, let us heal up. Sparkles, because you're the only one who really took damage that fight. That was definitely a good showing. Especially because it got a couple level ups, and that could be really useful for what's to come. Because you may be thinking that we may be having an easy time against our final opponent here, because we got some Pokemon that are higher level than what his strongest Pokemon are going to be. Don't count on it. Levels aren't everything. We could definitely see some pretty strong resistance from his last couple of Pokemon. Alright, next fight here against a very iconic character in the Pokemon series, for certain reasons. I am Karen of the Elite Four. You're July? How amusing. I love Dark-type Pokemon. I'm known for my overpowering tactics. Think you can take them? Just try to entertain me. Let's go. For a moment there I thought she was gonna say, think you can take me! And my inner Xenoblade fan just came out. But yes, Karen, a woman as mysterious as the night. It's gonna be an interesting fight. She definitely has some pretty strong Pokemon in her main team, so we can see some resistance here. Snorkel, sadly, not all that good for a Tentacruel. This thing's a special tank. And what are we going to do here? Kenya'd actually be really good. You are completely immune to poison, and its water attack shouldn't be too bad against you. Yeah, given our options here, I think we'll go with... Well, Sparkles is also pretty... Yeah, Sparkles might actually be the better play here, because you're at least going to be able to knock this thing out. Whereas if Kenya, be a bit more drawn out. And we'll go with Sparkles. Sorry, Snorkel, we'll get you in a good matchup sooner or later. Well, this thing's setting up with Barrier. Definitely pretty nasty, raising your usually pretty weak defense to make yourself much more tanky. So definitely recommend Tentacruel. It's a very solid Pokemon, and I have used one before in some of my earlier streams. Definitely one I always recommend. For a very common Pokemon, it's really good. Alright, with that barrier, I'm not sure we're going to be able to knock this thing out here. Definitely taking advantage of our airlock with Sparkles. Should be able to finish you, provided we got good damage range. Yep, we took you out. Just blasted through those barriers. Alright, what do we got next? The Sandstorm continues to rage. We got Relicanth. That's a simple Pokemon for Sparkles to handle. You're level 47, so that makes me think this Relicanth is your ace. So I believe that's the level of her Houndoom. Alright, did some pretty good damage, and managed to paralyze you. Not bad. Alright, that's going to trigger the Berry. But we should be good here. Mud Sport. Okay, that's actually going to be to your benefit. Okay, Electricity is weakened here, so I'm thinking... Yeah, Sparkles isn't going to do a lot of good damage here, so let's switch out. Best play here is either going to be Dottie or Scarab. Given what you have, I'm actually thinking Dottie. Oh, don't you yawn me. Okay, we're gonna fall asleep in the next turn, so I want to take this thing out quickly. Let's go for Leaf Storm. That should easily knock you out. Sadly, Dottie is going to be out of commission for this next Pokemon, but we should be fine. Sandstorm continues to rage. And next up is Medicham. Ooh, I definitely want to switch you out. Medicham's actually pretty dangerous for this squad right now. Yeah, Psychic and Fighting is very awkward to deal with because they cover some very good ground when it comes to their weaknesses. I'm thinking Kenya probably be your best bet here, but Medicham does have one particularly nasty move that makes me worried about sending Kenya out. Otherwise, I'd probably go with Sahara. Alright, let's send Kenya in and see how this is going to go. We are quite high level compared to it, so yep, that's the move I was worried about, high jump kick. That actually went pretty well. Alright, I definitely don't want this thing to kick us again, so let's go for the Hypnosis. Ugh, that's nasty. That thing is trying to... By swapping its attack and defense, Medicham could be pretty tricky here. So I'm not too certain on what this thing's stat spread is. We might want to heal up Kenya, just in case this thing's attack is higher. the very least, we don't have to worry about this thing potentially having anything that's boosting its attack with its ability, so shouldn't be too bad. Also didn't acknowledge it at this point, bud. Welcome to the stream, Lydia. Let's heal you up with some milk. Just pouring it onto the bell. I don't know, guess it's gonna fuse into the cracks or something. And going with the full restore. Alright, there's no way I really know what to do here. Guess best bet just go for the hypnosis again. Yeah, let's try hypnosis. Alright, here comes the kick. And, ooh, that hit pretty hard. I don't want to take another one of those. Okay, at the very least, you're incapacitated for a little while, so let's heal up. If things start to get bad, I might want to switch over to Sahara, because I think she's a bit bulkier than Kenya, so should be able to handle this thing. Alright, soften you up with the extra sensory, and we should be able to finish you off next turn, provided that we don't get any healing. Given the health range you're at, you're probably gonna heal. Or not. Alright, Metacham's going down. It's actually kind of nice to see a Pokemon like Metacham on Karen's team. Same with Relicanth, as that actually kind of fits with her philosophy. Next up is Blissey. That thing is a special walls. Kenya's definitely getting out of here. Scarab, this one's yours. Light screen. Well, I have the perfect counter for that. Just give me an opportunity to get past the sandstorm here. And Brick Break! Not only is that definitely going to knock out the Blissey, but it shatters the light screen, so you don't have to worry about that on our last Pokemon. Alright. And its HP runs out slowly. There's a reason people often say that Generation 4 is the slowest generation in the series, and I definitely see why. Last one is Probopass. This is far from being backed into a corner. So yeah, I'm actually quite impressed that a lot of the options Karen had because of the randomizer actually fits with her philosophy. I really don't think there's anything else we need to do here but close combat. This will give us a drop in our defenses, but I think we should have more than enough power to take it out. Yep, critical hit. That overgrown nose stood no chance. There we go. Well, aren't you good? I like that in a trainer. Compliments are from an Elite Four member. Definitely like it. Strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon. That's only the selfish perception of people. Truly skilled trainers should try to win with the Pokemon they love best. I like your style. You understand what's important. Go on. The champion is waiting. I really love this statement from Karen. It's just really cool to see an actual character in universe say that. Because, yeah, even if a Pokemon isn't statistically better than a lot of other options, you can still make it work. And it's definitely something that's resonated with me throughout the years. And there definitely been a lot of opportunities with me personally where I've used a kind of underpowered Pokemon and still managed to make them work, like Pachirisu or Spidops. It's always fun when you manage to find one of those underpowered Pokemon and manage to make them work, you know? It's truly special, and it's great to see a character who really goes by that philosophy. Alright. But with that said, the easy battles are over. The kids' gloves come off here. Alright, for this one, let's check our moves here. Snorkel hasn't seen any action at this point, so we don't need to worry about too much about you. Little iffy on the amount of spark you have, but we're probably not going to need it too much. Yeah, we've done pretty well at conserving our power points for these couple of battles, so I will use one Ether on Sparkles, but that's only because the one move you have that's really good is something we are going to need more of. But yeah, with that, we are done with the Elite Four. Only one more battle to go for this part of our journey. And for those of you familiar with what this particular boss uses, you could definitely expect us to see some pretty big resistance here. With that said, let's do this. Our final battle. I've been waiting for you. July, I knew that you and your skills would eventually reach me here. There's no need for words now. We will battle to determine who's the stronger of the two of us. As the most powerful trainer and as the Pokemon League champion, I, Lance the Dragon Master, accept your challenge! Final battle here is Lance, the Duke of Dragons. But honestly, not expecting to see Toxicroak as your lead Pokemon here. What would we do for this? Honestly, Snorkel pretty good here. However, there's a certain other Pokemon I feel like would be better for dealing with a Toxicroak. And that is Sahara. I guess I could have also gone for Kenya, but yeah, Sahara's easily able to handle this thing. Yeah, I honestly was not expecting him to lead with Toxicroak, given that he usually uses a Gyarados. I mean, I guess it's kind of in the same amount of range, but whatever. Mudbomb's gonna hit a little bit because it boosted itself up with Nasty Plot, but we should be good. It's gonna be an easy knockout. Hello, Xavier! Welcome to the stream. You just made it for the final battle here. Alright, Toxicroak is down, but we got a lot of other mean Pokemon to deal with here. What do we have next? Manaphy. It's definitely relevant to a certain comic that I've definitely been reading lately. That is quite interesting. You are pure water. Yeah, I think our best call here is to set up with Dottie and just Solar Beam this thing. Manaphy is definitely pretty powerful. It has a base stat total of 600, all 100, base 100 across the board. This thing is pretty powerful. And let's go for Sunny Day. This thing is trying to buff itself up a little bit, but it's nothing we gotta worry about. Dottie's easily able to handle this thing. With this particular Pokemon you want to watch out for, but also take advantage of if you do manage to catch it, is the move Tail Glow, which when used buffs the user's special attack, being one of the few special attack buffing moves in the game. And it is so good on a Pokemon like Manaphy, which already has really good stats. You definitely want to use that. And with that, yep, Manaphy goes down. You're pretty strong, but not enough to handle Dottie and her Solar Beam. So good. And we already have the Sunlight still set up, which could... Ooh. This is actually going to be a bit detrimental. Arcanine. That thing's a fire type and can be nasty. You know what? Best bet's gonna be Snorkel. You have Sandstream, which will cancel out the Sandstorm, and you should easily be able to handle this thing because you double resist fire. Yeah, we should be good here. Of course, you score a critical hit on me, not like it really is gonna matter. Alright, for this big old dog, we need to take you out quickly. Let's go for broke! Hydro Pump! Of course, Arcanine does have extreme speed, so you're able to do some neutral damage to us there. Really? Alright, we're good. Another hit will do it. Actually, Sandstorm's really not doing too good for us. Yeah, Snorkel, take a milk. Just drink it all up with your big snoot. Also, given this Arcanine's level, that means that this is Lance's ace, as his strongest Pokemon is level 50 at this point of the game. Alright. We soften you up a bit. Surf could probably take you out, but I want to go for broke. Sure, just keep whittling us down with extreme speed. I don't care. There we go. That's gonna do some damage. Your big red dog is big red gone. Very good work, Snorkel. Ugh, you definitely took quite a beating there. Next up is Electivire. Pretty strong a Pokemon we got going up here. Best bet for this thing is definitely Sahara. Sparkles would also work here, but definitely want to go for our God Hippo. Ooh, setting up with Light Screen. That could be bad. So we got a free turn here, so I'm actually going to take this opportunity to heal up Snorkel, just in case there's anything else on Lance's team I want to be prepared for. Oh, I think a Moo Moo Milk would have exactly healed you at that point. Not like a mass. You have Thunderbolt. How? How did that hit us? What ability does Electivire have that allows it to completely... Oh, wait, I think this thing has Normalize. So that thing's gonna do neutral damage no matter what it does to us. Wow, Electivire. That is an interesting setup you have, but hopefully we're able to take this. Even though this is only going to do normal damage, it's still going to hit hard because Electivire is really strong. But we should be good here. Yeah, I was not expecting that. There's a very rare moment where we actually get to see an electric move hit a ground type. Alright, that was a very interesting opponent there. Sahara managed to push through despite the risk there. What do we got next? Tentacruel. Well, I definitely don't want you out against this thing. This thing could hit you with a nasty water attack. Yeah, same as our last encounter with this thing, Sparkles is our best call. I'm actually quite glad that the same strength aspect of this randomizer challenge has actually given us a bit of an easier battle than I was expecting. I was definitely expecting Lance to have like 5 legendary Pokemon and for us to have to deal with all of those big stats. But no, so far it was just the Manaphy that was really all that when it comes to legendary status. He does have a very solid team here though, but hasn't been too bad. Alright, Light Screen is down, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. Have a few more sparks should take you out. This thing's paralyzed, so we don't have to worry too much about it. Yeah, this should be an easy one. Poison Jab. That's gonna hurt a bit. Alright, let's finish you. Or not, because you got full restore. So yeah, we'll heal up Sparkles after this. Actually, let's conserve our hypers and use Moo Milk. Yeah, Sparkle should be fine against Tentacruel. Just gonna take a little bit to finally get you down. These jabs are a little nasty, especially with poison. As long as we don't suffer a crit, we should be good. Which, now that I say that, you just know what's gonna happen. Okay, we're good. That was pretty nasty, but we're good. Oh, I just barely didn't get the KO. You are paralyzed. Not like that's really gonna be too good. I'm tempted to switch to something else now, but we don't really need to. Let's use our full restore to cure you of your afflictions. And we should be good. Yeah, I'm definitely expecting Lance to use a lot of these things. I think in total the champion tends to have 4 full restores, so they have a lot of options when it comes to healing their team. Alright, Quick Claw coming in, because I know Tentacruel's faster than us. That's nice. On. Alright, you're paralyzed again. Got you in a good damage range here. So we managed to get another high roll Spark. That should finish you. Come on, Sparkles. I need this to be the biggest hit you've got. No, come on. Just came up short. Ooh, Screech. That is nasty. But you should be going down right now. Provided he doesn't use another healing item. Yeah, I'm probably going to switch on this one. This thing has... Yeah, this thing has been pretty nasty. And it did lower our defense, so... Yeah, I do not want to risk another hit from this thing. Actually... from the damage range that Poison Jab was doing... It would only get us about half, but I don't want to risk a critical hit. Alright, let's go to Kenya. She should be able to handle the Tentacruel. I'm sorry, they should be able to handle the Tentacruel. Sorry for forgetting my Pokemon's pronouns. And now Tentacruel can actually be affected by the Sandstorm because we don't have an airlock Pokemon in the battle. See what extra sensory's gonna do. Wow, if Water Pulse is the nastiest thing we can expect from this thing in terms of damage, we should be safe. Yeah, that barely does anything to Kenya. Alright. So Tentacruel goes down. Only one more Pokemon to go. What do you have to close out this battle, Lance? You're kidding me! Another Electivire? Alright, we need to do something about this guy. If this thing is also going to have Normalize, then I want to make sure Sahara is at full health before we switch her in. This guy will take a little bit from the Sandstorm each turn, so we should be pretty good here. I think a Hyper Potion is what we need for Sahara. Yep, we'll definitely need that. Yeah, instead of having free Dragonites, he has 2 Electivires. Honestly, a little disappointed because I was expecting him to have at least one Dragon-type Pokemon on his team. Oh, this one doesn't have Normalize. Since that Thunder Punch did not very effective damage to Kenya, then we should be good. I don't think this thing has anything that can do a lot of damage to Sahara. Alright. It's gonna end this battle off with our God Hippo. Wow, that confused. Okay, what the hell? Alright, if it's not Normalized, then what ability does this thing have? That did not very effective damage to Kenya, but it's able to hit set. What is able to get past Pokemon resistances and immunities? I don't know what this thing has. I know there are other type changing abilities, but I don't know what else they have besides Normalize in this game. That is so weird. This has been an interesting matchup. I will give it that. Come on, Sahara, just take that and you should be able to finish this thing off. It's been a really weird battle. I am so upset at these big Yeti tiger things. Stay down! It's over. But it's an odd feeling. I'm not angry that I lost. In fact, I feel happy. Happy I witnessed the rise of a new champion. Phew! You have become truly powerful, July. Your Pokemon have responded to your strong and upstanding nature. As a trainer, you'll continue to grow strong with your Pokemon. What's this? Aw, Snorkel's shy. Oh no, it's all over! Professor Oak, if you weren't so slow! I'm coming! Ah, July, it's been a long while. You certainly look more impressive. Your conquest of the League is just fantastic. Your dedication, trust, and love for your Pokemon made this happen. Your Pokemon were outstanding too. Yeah, just, forget about those 3 specific ones that I had to, bury. Because they believed in you as a trainer, they persevered. Congratulations, July! Let's interview the brand new champion. Do I have to? This is getting to be a bit too noisy. July, could you come with me? Can do. Oh wait, we haven't done the interview! Sorry, Mary. It's been a long time since I last came here. This is where we commemorate the League champions for all eternity. Their courageous Pokemon are also inducted. Here today, we witness the rise of a new League champion, a trainer who feels compassion for and trust toward all Pokemon, a trainer who succeeded through perseverance and determination. The new League champion who has all the makings of greatness. July, allow me to register you and your partners as champions. For a first attempt at a Pokemon Nuzlocke stream here on this channel, it ended very well. Our champions, Snorkel the Kingdra, Scarab the Heracross, Dottie the Shiftry, Sahara the Hippowdon / God, Kenya the Bronzong, and Sparkles the Luxray. We did it, son. This was for you, man. Yeah, very cool team indeed. These all very solid Pokemon. I'm really glad we managed to bring them to the end here. Oh boy. With that, we are done the main story of Pokemon SoulSilver. It has been a wild journey. So I'm going to give my thoughts on this very long and exhausting project in a little bit. First of all, my thoughts on Pokemon Heart Gold and SoulSilver as a whole. They're just very good remakes. Sure, you could say a bit about how the level balancing wasn't really fixed for these games, but everything else just phenomenal. The art style, just a great, just a good step up from what we saw before in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. I feel like they did really good of incorporating a lot of new elements into the Johto region. Just being able to play a version of Johto where you don't have to worry about the frickin' and types being associated with specific stats is always good, of course. Obviously, there's online compatibility. Just all the little touches that were added into this remake that we got to see all throughout this adventure. Being able to register pretty much every trainer we come across into our Pokegear. Being able to add notes to our map, being able to access the global trade station, having the Pokeflon, which is easily one of my favorite mini games in the entire series to do. This is just a fantastic remake, and getting to see just all of this again has been really fun. I don't tend to go back to Heart Gold and SoulSilver a lot compared to some other games, but it's still a good time when you do manage to get through it. I just felt like a lot of the additions they made were very good and helped add to the story of the Johto region as a whole. It's great to get to see these characters again. It was definitely a blast. Highly recommend picking up these games if you haven't played them before. They're very fun. As for this Nuzlocke run itself, I've definitely been wanting to stream a Nuzlocke run for quite a few years, and it was definitely quite exhilarating doing this challenge here. Definitely got to see a lot of the ups and the downs of doing this kind of challenge run, using a very limited roster of Pokemon compared to what you're probably using, having to definitely plan out ahead which Pokemon we would need for some of the battles ahead, just trying to build the best possible team for dealing with all the possible options we'd be up against, and also having to definitely plan around the fact that our Pokemon's lives are finite, and if they go down, they go down. And we definitely came across a lot of hardship during this run, but overall, just being able to persevere through all those challenges has also been a blast. Really glad we managed to end this run with success. But it's not quite over. For anyone familiar with Heart Gold and SoulSilver, you know that we've only hit the halfway point of this game. So yep, in time we will be doing the Kanto portion of SoulSilver, and we are also going to be doing that portion with the Nuzlocke rules that we set out to do at the start. However, I need a break from this game. It has been an exhausting project to dedicate my time to. Like, as you can clearly tell from my trainer's name, we started this journey in July, and we're at the start of November now. There's been a lot of time put into this project, both in the streams itself, as well as training up my Pokemon in between stream sessions, drawing all the artwork for all the Pokemon I got to use on our journey. I definitely invested a lot of time into this, and I need a break. So, we'll definitely be returning to SoulSilver sometime in the future. But for now, I got some other adventures I want to go on that I definitely like to show off. So, probably this weekend, I hope you're able to join me here once more for our next adventure, which is definitely going to be on the shorter side compared to some other games we have played, but still going to be a good time. So, with that said, I'm looking forward to seeing you all here again as we go find some new friends. Until next time, have a good day and take care.